Hi, everyone, and thanks for checking out this movie review. So, today we'll be continuing to take a look at the next film in my current horror franchise for the month of September, which is the Halloween franchise. And today we're going to be taking a look at the third film in the franchise, which is Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. Sort of a polarizing film among Halloween franchise fans and horror fans in general. Um, so we'll get into it. I'll go ahead and start with the setup and the premise of the film, and then I'll get into my thoughts and review, which will contain spoilers once again. So, Halloween 3 Season of the Witch is a 1982 American science fiction horror film and the third installment of the Halloween film series. It is the first film to be written and directed by Tommy Lee Wallace. John Carpenter and Deborah Hill, the creators of the first two Halloween films, return as producers. This is the only entry in the series that does not feature the series antagonist, Michael Myers. So we start on October 23rd in Northern California. A shop owner named Harry Grimbridge is chased along a barren road by mysterious men in suits. After nearly being killed by one man, who is crushed to death but remains silent as he dies, he makes it to a gas station, clutching a jack-o'-lantern mask. He's driven to the hospital by kindly station attendant Walter Jones. At the hospital, Harry is placed in the care of Dr. Daniel Chalice, an alcoholic doctor who has poor relationships with his ex-wife and his two children. That night, another man in a suit enters Harry's hospital room, murders him, then kills himself by blowing himself up in his car in the parking lot of the hospital when Daniel tries to pursue him. A few days later, Daniel is confronted in the bar by Harry's daughter, Ellie. He tells her about the strange events of the night Harry died and shows her the mask her father was hiding when he was admitted to the hospital. Along with Ellie, Daniel traces the mask back to Silver Shamrock Novelties, which is a company based in the town of Santa Mira, California. The outwardly genial motel manager explains that Connell Cochran and his company, Silver Shamrock Novelties, which produces widely popular latex jack-o'-lantern, witch, and skeleton masks for Halloween, are responsible for the town's prosperity. So that's sort of the setup and the premise of the which leads us into the film, the start of the film. And it kind of goes from there. Cast wise, we have Tom Atkins, of course, as Dr. Dan Chalice, Stacy Nelkin as Ellie Grimbridge, Dan O'Hurley as Connell Cochran, Michael Curie as Rafferty, and Ralph Straight as Buddy Kupfer. So yeah, I kind of went through that quickly because I really want to get into the review part of this movie. Hopefully, if you're watching this review, you've seen this movie because there's going to be spoilers. So if you haven't, you better check out now. Otherwise, you're going to get spoiled. um, I love this film, to be honest with you. I know it's very polarizing among fans because it doesn't have Michael Myers and it's got a Halloween title, so everyone's expecting to see Michael Myers. And it's not a perfect film by any means, but it's to me, it's a Halloween staple. I could put this on in October every year, much like the first two Halloween movies. So I'll just kind of go ahead and get into it, and I'll start with the pros. And you got to start with Tom Atkins as Doctor Chalice. Dr. Chalice is a very compelling but flawed character that we sort of view this movie through. He's our focal point of the movie. And again, it's a character that's extremely well acted once again by Tom Atkins. Tom Atkins is a horror legend. Such movie, he was in this movie, he was in The Fog, Night of the Creeps, even Maniac Cop, the first one. He's just great in all of his roles in horror movies specifically. So yeah, big fan of Tom Atkins. He's really good in this movie. This movie's got a really good score. It's a little different than the original, but it has a little bit of some of the score of the original, but it's mostly different, and it works really well for this movie. It works well for this story. It really ratchets up the suspense during certain moments of the movie, certain scenes in the movie. Obviously, the Silver Shamrock song. You watch this movie, you're not going to forget it. I mean, it's about as memorable as any song in any Halloween or horror movie, for that matter. It just kind of sticks with you, and they play it a lot throughout the movie. So, yeah, it's just a very memorable song. Great score overall. Great special effects for the most part, especially as it relates to the kills and the gore in this movie. Very practical. Very good makeup effects as it relates to the gore. I think Tommy Lee Wallace, for his first movie directing, does a good job with what he's given here. but I'm really, a lot of people don't like the story and the fact that Michael Myers isn't have nothing to do with it. But I actually find the story very intriguing and interesting and unique, and I haven't really seen anything like it before. The fact that they kind of went in the sci-fi direction as opposed to a slasher direction, I really enjoy that. I enjoy the mystery aspect of the first half of the movie. You're not really sure what's going on, but the way it starts, and we're introduced to these characters, and they have to sort of discover what's going on and what happened to this guy. And I just think it's a really well unfolding story that's told. And so yeah, I really enjoy this story for something different. A very interesting and intriguing villain as well in Cochrane. I think he's a good, believable villain that uses the season of Halloween, the holiday of Halloween, to perpetuate his evil, basically. And so this is definitely a movie that can be enjoyed around Halloween time. It's very seasonal, very atmospheric of Halloween, obviously. Um, Good atmosphere. Excuse me. There's a good atmosphere and good setting throughout this movie. That's really well used. The atmosphere is very, very dark in tone with the score and just very creepy. The setting takes place in a small town for most of the movie. There's not a lot of characters. There's only three main characters in this movie, really, and it all kind of takes place in a small town in California, and very effective to the horror of this movie. Um, the kills are pretty effective. I talked about the special effects being good. I think the kills are really good. Obviously, the most iconic one from this movie is where the kid's wearing he has his jack o' lantern mask on, Halloween mask, and as they're watching on he's watching on the TV, and the Silver Shamrock song comes on, and eventually his mask starts to melt over his head, and then all these insects and snakes and parasites come out and end up killing the parents because they're in this test room at the company at the where they produce the masks. The Where Cochran is the owner of them. The company basically, and so they're showing this to Dr. Chalice while he's being held captive. Basically, that this family is in this test room, and the kid's got the mask on in front of the TV, and it melts when he hears the song. And then these creatures come out, these parasites, these snakes, and end up killing the parents. Um, so that was the best kill of the movie. They were willing again. You'll hear this in all my reviews. In any horror movie or any franchise, they were willing to try something different, despite the risks that go along with that. The risk being it's something different that went against the popularity of what came before it. But I give them kudos for that. I really do, and I think it works well in this movie. Um, so yeah, that's definitely a pro for me in this movie. Um, there's a great opening to this movie with the shopkeeper being chased by all these guys in suits. I think that really brings you into the story and makes you interested. Is intriguing. There's a great final confrontation at the end of the movie with the twist that's revealed. So, okay, here comes a big spoiler alert. The twist is that basically after he escapes along with I'm sorry, Ellie, played by Stacey Nelkin. And they're on their way and they escape and blow up the building and everybody in it and all these guys and Cochran's dead and everything looks like now they're going to go warn like the stations that are going to put this on and everything. Of course, the twist is that Ellie's been turned into one of these robots, and so she attacks him in the car, and he has to take care of her basically. And then the final scene is really intense, where he's on the phone calling these television stations about taking down these ads, these commercials playing the Shamrock song. It's just a really effective ending to the movie. He's able to partially stop the evil by stopping Cochrane and killing him, along with all of his robots, but he's not fully able to stop the evil that's throughout the world because of the scope of it, and it really leaves the audience on edge as he's yelling, "Stop it! Stop it!" It's just I don't know. It's just a really effective ending, and I also have to add, I think the look of these three masks, especially in the early '80s, are really good. The jack o' lantern, the witch, and um, the hell's the other one? The skeleton. I thought the masks were really good. In fact, I wish I had access to masks like that when I was a kid, which I was about the time this movie came out. Very young kid. So those are my pros. Lots of pros in this movie. A few cons. The special effects in this movie that are related more to the sci-fi part of the movie AKA the blue laser that's used from that little round thing that's inside the mask. More of the digital effects in the third act don't really work that well. They certainly don't age well from when this movie was made. The biggest flaw, obviously, most people will talk about is the fact that you have a Halloween title, not only a Halloween title, but it says Halloween 3 on it. Well, anybody that hasn't done research or watched the trailer for this movie, in fact, I thought I heard even some of the trailers actually show Michael Myers when they had a trailer for this, which is totally wrong for them to do that. It's just a complete gimmick that backfired on them. Not only should they not have Halloween 3, if you're going to have a Halloween as a title, have Halloween Season of the Witch. Don't have Halloween 3. I would say it's even better to just have Season of the Witch, like most people would say. So that's the biggest flaw with this movie. That just the marketing of it, how they produced it using the Halloween 3 title. I know at the time they weren't planning on revisiting Michael Myers, so I mean it only looks bad in retrospect. At the time that they made these three movies, it wasn't as big of a deal because they were kind of moving away from Michael Myers. You saw the conclusion of that in Halloween 2, but and I think the plan was to have Halloween anthology movies every year, which I would have actually been on board for, especially with some of the later Halloween movies that we ended up getting as it relates to Michael Myers. So, but even with that, even at the time though, it was still a bit of a bait and switch on people. And so yeah, that's the biggest flaw with this movie. Obviously, it has nothing to do with Michael Myers, other than the fact that they have the original Halloween on in the background and a couple of TVs that are being watched. Um, that's really about it. So basically, Halloween and this movie is just it's a fictional movie, and doesn't at all fit into this storyline at all, other than that. So, also some of the explanations given on how things work with the Stonehenge and the witchcraft magic and how it all works together to get the results that Cochrane is going for. It's not really well explained at the end. They just kind of present it to you and then just basically tell you just go with it so that the movie works. A little bit of lazy writing there, but again, that didn't bother me a whole lot. Just there's just not enough explanation on that stuff. It's kind of like it's a burger that they took a bite out of and they bit off more than they could chew, kind of a thing. And then there's some cheesy acting as well, especially mostly among the family, though the family, the mom, the dad, and the kid that they have in test room A. Just some of their dialogue and their lines and their acting is pretty cheesy, even by 80s standards. So in a nutshell, those are my pros and cons for Halloween 3. I really like this movie. I think this is a great Halloween movie, a great horror movie. In hindsight, it's probably not a great Halloween franchise movie for most people because it doesn't have Michael Myers. But for me, I don't care. I'm watching and reviewing all the Halloween movies, and the fact that this is in a Halloween franchise where the other 10 movies out of the 11 that currently exist are this is the only one that doesn't have anything to do with Michael Myers. I'm not going to penalize it for that like other people do. Again, at the time, there were three movies. Two of them were Michael Myers, and then that story was told. And then they had this one, and they were planning on having a fourth one and continuing with different anthologies, much like American Horror Story is now, except theatrically released movies, which I kind of wish they would have done that, to be honest with you. I enjoy some of the later movies with Michael Myers. Some of them are really bad that I don't enjoy that makes me wish they would have gone with the anthology direction. Obviously, they didn't because this was not well received at the time by audiences. Again, because of this right here. This is the key. This is the biggest flaw in this movie. But that being said, I really enjoy this movie. It's a Halloween staple for me. I'm going to give this an 8 out of 10 as far as the rating goes. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the look of it, the feel of it, the acting, especially Tom Atkins, the atmosphere, the kills. Everything just kind of works for me. But the biggest thing is the story. I found the story intriguing, even though it doesn't even though Michael Myers isn't part of it. I think it's a really unique story and it worked well enough for me. So 8 out of 10. Go ahead and comment down below, guys, your thoughts on Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. Give me your pros or cons, your likes or dislikes about it, and how you rate it in the rest of the series. Go ahead and like this video, hit the little notification bell to see my future videos, and please subscribe to my channel to see upcoming other Halloween horror franchise review videos as well as other standalone horror movie reviews. So thank you for watching this video and stay scared. Bye.